I don't know if you've had the pleasure of sailing at Central Park, but it's almost always A-rigged and very flat, trying to hunt breeze. And
Okay.
my biggest issue is always in setup. It takes me 4 or 5 races just to kind of get the boat sort of balanced. So I was wondering, what would you recommend as a strategy in terms of like sort of letting everything off, and then what do I sort of bring on in which order to more efficiently find that balance quicker?
Okay. Running through a trim when I'll set up for a day, or if I'll go and have a look at someone's boat to set it up for the day. Firstly, yes, you'll have a look at what the conditions are. So we take into effect that we might be sailing light airs in Central Park. Just looking at the pictures, it's a lake surrounded by trees, so you're going to get little fluffy gusts come from all directions at times, I would imagine, which can make it
That's quite
fun,
accurate, yes.
fun and interesting. So I like sailing at places like that. People call me sick for saying those kinds of things, but I think it's great. It's always a good test. So what you want to do is basically have a trim that's just got a little bit more twist in your sails in a light gusty condition like that, and that will make your boat more forgiving in a weird gust that'll come from somewhere else. So that the first thing I would look for is to make sure, looking from behind the boat, we've got a nice amount of twist in the mainsail, and then the headsail will be eased, and you'll try and match, looking from behind, the twist angle in the jib. You'll try and match that to your mainsail leech. Now, there can always be, that's a common start. There can always be a lot more variations on that, dependent on design, dependent on what the fin is, dependent on what the rake is on the boat. But I'm just going into just a basic trim, I guess, at the moment. And you would eyeball your mast, I guess, to be standing all but vertical, maybe the only slightest bit of rake backwards in it. But for light airs, an up straight mast is probably your best place to start. For sailing with that, I guess with that little bit of twist. So when I'm then going to put a trim on a boat, the first thing I'll do is I'll grab that boat and I'll ease the sheets all the way out. What I'll do then is set your kicker, or your boom bang. You guys call them a kicker as well? Yep, pretty much. So I'll set the kicker. So I'll ease a few turns on that, or just set the leech so it looks nice for a running trim with a nice bit of twist in it. The next thing to do is jibe your sail over onto the other tack and check that that twist looks exactly the same on the other tack, or on the other jibe, if you like. If it doesn't, then that means you've got a sideways bend in your mast. So you'll adjust your shrouds, your 2 side stays, so that that then becomes the same amount of leech twist on both sides. A good guide there is then grab your locking screw. Once you're happy with that, what you think is a nice running trim, locking screw on your kicker and lock that off. Leave that set. Then you'll sheet your sails back on, and you'll sheet your twist of your mainsail from there with your mast ram and your backstay. And you'll check both of those to give you the right amount of twist in your mainsail. What that does is it leaves your leech set perfectly for the run, and then you fine tune for the upwind setting of the leech with those other 2 adjustments.